Coming at you guys with another Dragon Ball Super discussion video. I wonder if you guys paid attention to what Piccolo said here in Dragon Ball Super episode 122. Now, I already briefly discussed this, but this was before I watched the sub version, obviously, again. So, obviously, did not have those translations and that subtext. But Piccolo mentioned, quote, that Jiren provoked Vegeta's pride, thus allowing Vegeta to push his power beyond the normal limits of Super Saiyan Blue. Do you think this is actually what the case is going to be here for Vegeta's power increase in Dragon Ball Super episode 123, based off of what Goku said, that Vegeta was going to go beyond Super Saiyan Blue? I thought about it and I considered what Piccolo said here, and I thought it was important that they included that. I don't think Vegeta's actually going to get a new transformation or a new form, as much as I would obviously love for him to get something different and something new. I talked about Ultra Instinct, definitely don't think that's happening. I think Vegeta's just going to go beyond the power and the limits of Super Saiyan Blue. Like I said in the previous video, whatever those limits are for Super Saiyan Blue, I just think Vegeta's going to exceed that and push himself even further to do more in Super Saiyan Blue than, like I said, what he's actually capable of doing on a regular basis. And because Jiren was able to obviously provoke his pride, Vegeta's going to be able to grab a lot of that power, emotion on the Saiyan pride that obviously he's always able to do. That's always been kind of a mantra of what makes Vegeta's character unique, is that he always pulls from his Saiyan pride more than anything, you know, and that can be consisted of several things, but it's always just about who he is. At the end of the day, he is a Saiyan warrior, you know, from a distant planet, and that's just kind of how he thrives. Goku finds his motivation through other methods, not necessarily Saiyan pride, but Vegeta definitely does for sure. Gohan, not really. Gohan has his different sense of motivation as well. I would say Trunks, obviously being the son of Vegeta, pulls a little bit from that Saiyan pride as well. So if anything, I think it's more reinforcement for us not to forget who these characters are at the end of the day, especially Vegeta. Sure, the hierarchy and King Vegeta and the planet he was destined to rule is no longer intact and no longer around, but that does not mean that Vegeta still does not carry the pride that he has with him. That doesn't mean that he's forgotten that he is still the Prince of Saiyans. Like I've said before, simply because he has no one to rule and he doesn't really care for that doesn't mean that he's going to forget who he is or where he's come from. He will never forget, and he mentioned that here also in episode 122. So I think it's just reinforcement for us not to forget that even as far as Goku and Vegeta have come, you know, individually with all these new forms and transformations and these power levels they've been able to reach, never take away from Vegeta that he still is the Prince of Saiyan and that he is still going to pull on his Saiyan pride in situations where he needs to, and ultimately that usually does allow him to fight much better and much stronger than he ever has before. Like I said, Goku has different motivations, mainly pulling from the thought of losing to his loved ones or being able to obviously surpass a threat in front of him. Vegeta also can be inspired and motivated by that, but like I said, for Vegeta, when he gets his most power and his most strength, that comes down to him really digging on that pride that he still keeps intact. Like I said, it's not like it was back in the day and back in the earlier stages of DBZ, where he would allow his pride to get in the way of these fights and to get in the way of how much power he can output. But since he's been able to relax, he's slowly letting go of that chip on his shoulder like we said he's had. He's finding the ways to utilize his power while still pulling on that pride, which is just a personal thing, and he's able to elevate himself to whole new levels. So personally, I believe that's what's going to happen. I don't see anything new as far as the transformation happening. But like I said, if it was something new that they were going to throw at us here in the next episode, that would be awesome. Nothing has been spoiled or leaked about it, so that's why I predict it's not going to be Ultra Instinct or a new transformation. But I think he's just going to go beyond the limits of Super Saiyan Blue, which really hasn't been spoken about or mentioned. So technically speaking, it would be one of the first times, not the first time itself, but it'd be one of the first times Goku or Vegeta were able to actually elevate themselves beyond Super Saiyan Blue. Goku has obviously done it with the Kaioken technique, if you want to consider that, but Super Saiyan Blue by itself with no added extra techniques or different forms, this is what Vegeta will be able to do successfully.